You only clock on your phone in the half-light, heart racing, chasing a deadline, scrolling for signs that you're alright. You only bite back the words in your throat, take on the weight of the whole boat, silence that shakes like a high note.
Welcome back, you only. Hopefully you enjoyed our last episode, neural decoupling. Today, we're going to be talking about cognitive dissonance. There's a moment most people miss, not because it's small, but because it's uncomfortable. That second when your actions and your beliefs collide, and suddenly you feel that pull in your chest, that's not weakness, that's not confusion, that's your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. That tension has a name. Like I said earlier, cognitive dissonance. It was first identified in 1957 by Leon Festinger, a psychologist who didn't study belief. He embedded himself in a doomsday cult to observe what would happen when their prophecy failed. What he found was shocking. Instead of abandoning their beliefs, audience, what do you think they did? Many members doubled down, convincing themselves they had actually saved the world. That's how powerful the need for internal consistency really is, everyone. Psychology defines cognitive dissonance as the mental discomfort you feel when your behavior doesn't match your beliefs. It's like your mind's internal alarm system going off. Your brain hates contradiction, that craves harmony. It wants your story to make sense. So the moment it detects a mismatch, it forces one question: do I change or do I justify? Because at the core, you only have three ways out. You can change your behavior, change your belief, or justify the contradiction, everyone. Each one removes the tension, but only one truly rewrites your life. Changing your behavior is the hardest path, but it's also the most powerful. Your belief says one thing, your actions say another. And instead of explaining it away, you bring your actions into alignment. You believe health matters, right? So you start working out, eating better, sleeping longer. And when your behavior finally matches your identity, the tension dissolves instantly. This isn't comfort, this is growth, this is transformation. And here's what most people don't realize. Research expanding on Festinger's work shows that behavior doesn't just follow belief, sometimes it creates it. When people consistently act in a new way, their identity often shifts afterward to match those actions. The second path is more subtle. Instead of changing your life, you change your belief. You tell yourself, yeah, health matters, but life's short. The tension disappears. But not because you've grown, but because you've compromised. Your brain doesn't care how the conflict gets resolved. It only cares about the story and it feeling consistent. Truth doesn't matter as much as psychological comfort. And the third path is the most common and most deceptive: rationalization. You explain your way out. I've been stressed. I'll start next week. It's not that bad. The contradiction says your identity stays the same, but the discomfort gets pushed down just enough to move on. That's why most people never change. And that's why we're all here. We're here to change. We're here to grow. We're here to become someone new. Every morning we put our feet on the floor and realize we're waking up and have God in our lungs and everything's fine. Their mind solved the tension without actually solving the problem, audience. Humans aren't purely rational. We are rationalizing at all moments. As Elliot Aronson, one of the leading voices in this field, explained, we don't use our minds to discover truth. We use them to defend who we believe we are. And here's the twist that catches people off guard. The more intelligent you are, the better you often become at justifying your own contradictions. I know, I do it all the time. Intelligence doesn't shield you from dissonance. It can actually make your rationalizations more convincing. And that's alarming. And this don't just live in your thoughts, it lives in your body. Research from the University of Sao Paulo, the University of Auckland, has shown that a small region in your brainstem, the lateral parafacial nucleus, helps regulate breathing, blood pressure, and your stress response. When stimulated, it triggers the same kind of activation you'd expect in a fight or flight situation. So when your brain is constantly juggling contradictions, you may not just be experiencing mental discomfort. You could be conditioning your body to stay in a low level state of stress. In other words, unresolved dissonance doesn't just sit in your mind. It can echo through your entire system. That's why this feeling matters. That tension, that discomfort, that inner pull. It isn't there to punish you. It's there to guide you. It's your brain signaling that something doesn't align. Most people run from that signal. They silence it with drugs, pornography, anything they can not feel some kind of dopamine release about. They bury it or explain it away. But the few who can stop and actually listen to what their body's telling them, and they'll change. Because in that moment, you're standing at a crossroads, everyone. You can stay the same, protect the identity you built, and keep the story intact. Or you can step into something new. And the truth is, the discomfort you're trying to escape might be the exact pressure that's meant to change you. Coal makes diamonds. Every single one of you is a diamond. We all have something special to offer this world. We just have to dig deep to find it. Two books come to my mind: Mistakes Were Made, but Not by Me, and Atomic Habits. Mistakes Were Made is ruthless. It pulls back the curtain on the human mind and shows how we rewrite reality to protect our ego. It's built on decades of research from Elliot Aronson, one of the leading figures in cognitive dissonance theory. The book lays out a truth most people don't want to hear. When we're wrong, we don't correct ourselves, we justify. Judges become more extreme after making decisions. We see it in the news every day. People double down on bad relationships. We see that in the news every day too. Leaders defend failed policies not because the evidence supports them, but because admitting error threatens identity. Studies show that once people commit publicly to a belief, they are dramatically more likely to defend it, even when proven false. Your brain isn't built to be right, it's built to feel right. Now, Atomic Habits comes in like a counterpunch. James Clear flips the script. He don't argue with your rationalizations, he bypasses them. His entire framework is based on one idea: identity follows behavior, not the other way around. He shows through behavioral data and habit formation research that small repeated actions rewire your sense of self. People who improve by 1% a day don't just get better, they compound into entirely different lives. And hopefully, some of you are experiencing that right now. A habit repeated daily isn't just a routine, everyone. It's a vote for the type of person you believe you are. And that's discipline, doing something right now for your future self. And over time, those votes become ding, 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 identity. Now, watch how these two ideas collide. This is where it gets powerful. Mistakes Were Made says you will protect your identity at all costs. Atomic Habits says then change your identity by changing your actions. That's the ping pong. That's the loop. If you stay the same, you will justify your behavior to protect your identity. If you change your behavior, your identity will eventually adapt to protect your new action. Either way, your brain is working to stay consistent. The only question is, consistent with what? And here's where it gets deeper, because this isn't just mental, it's physical. Think about something as simple as a tattoo. Most people believe once ink enters the body, it just sits there harmless. But that's not true. Tattoo ink doesn't stay put. Your immune system immediately reacts. Cells called macrophalanges try to break it down, and some of that pigment actually travels through your lymphatic system. Scientists are now finding that many tattoo pigments were never designed for human body at all. They were originally created for things like car paint, plastics, and printer toner. They contain complex chemical mixtures, including preservatives and impurities. The real question scientists are now asking isn't whether these substances enter your body, it's how they interact with you over time and what that means for long term health. Now, think about that metaphor. You put something foreign into your system, and your body works over time trying to process it, contain it, make sense of it. That's cognitive dissonance. A belief that doesn't match your actions is like ink under the skin. Your mind doesn't just ignore it, it reacts to it. It tries to break it down, move it, justify it, contain it. And if that contradiction sits there long enough, unresolved, it doesn't just stay mental. It can turn into stress, tension, even anxiety. You carry it. Remember, the body keeps the score. But here's where this flips from heavy to hopeful because change is real, massive change. In 1990, 2.3 billion people lived in extreme poverty. I know, I was a family of them. By 2024, that number dropped to 847 million. Over 1.5 billion people escaped extreme poverty in just one generation. Think about that. That's not a small improvement. That's transformation on a global scale. That's proof that change isn't just possible, it's happening. Entire systems, cultures, and identities shifted over time. Not overnight, but through consistent change. And consistency is what our mind needs. So if the world can do it, what could you do, everyone? And this idea isn't new, it's ancient. In the Bible, in Romans 7:15, the apostle Paul writes something that feels like it could have come straight out of psychology. For I do not understand my own actions. For I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing I hate. That's cognitive dissonance, everyone. Paul had cognitive dissonance. That's the internal conflict between belief and behavior. Even thousands of years ago, people were wrestling with the same tension you and me are today. But the story doesn't end there because awareness is the turning point. So here's what you can actually do real grounded steps to start shifting your state. First, catch the contradiction. When you feel that tension, don't run from it, name it. Fear, whatever. Awareness. Awareness alone reduces the brain's need to defend or justify. Second, lower the bar. Don't try to become a new person overnight. Use the atomic habits principle. Shrink the change. One small aligned action is enough to start rewriting identity. That 1%, everyone. Third, remove the escape routes. Pay attention to your go to rationalizations. I'll start tomorrow. It's not that bad. Call them out. Once you see them, they lose power. And, calling stuff out makes things lose power instantly. Fourth, stack proof. Every time you act in alignment with your new belief, you're casting a vote for a new identity. Track it. Write in your journal. Build evidence. Your brain believes what it sees repeatedly, everyone. And finally, sit in the discomfort just for a little longer than you normally would because that feeling, that tension you want to escape, that's not the enemy. That's the signal. And maybe, just maybe, it's the same force that has always driven human progress. The same force that moved billions out of poverty. The same force that pushes your body to react to foreign things and adapt. The same force that ancient writers try to put into words. The question isn't whether you feel it. The question is, what are you going to do when you do? Because The story your mind is trying to protect might be the very thing keeping you from becoming who you were meant to be. Until next time.
Only see every crack as a fault line. Talk to yourself like a landmine, ready to blow at the wrong time. But maybe every bruise is a headline, telling the truth that you hide behind. Learning to love every mistry. Thank you for following it, even when you're tired, when the fear won't quit. You only against the world when it feels that way. Slow down, unpack what the voices say. Rewind, zoom out, this is your purpose now. It's up to you to rewire the mind. You only. Who told you you had to hurry? Who sold you that old story? Lay it down, let it drown in yesterday. Every breath a brand new chapter, every step a softer answer. You're allowed right here to be okay. Oh, thank you for following it, even when you're tired, when the fear won't quit. You only against the world, but you're on your side. Slow down, unpack all the borrowed lies. Rewind, zoom out, this is your purpose now. It's up to you to rewire the mind. You only